All right, JJ Redick just finished his presser. Had to listen to the whole thing there, so probably a couple minutes late here. But wanted to get his reaction to the game. Want to get his reaction to the trade earlier today, and a really impressive win for the Los Angeles Lakers tonight over the Philadelphia 76ers. That was actually very impressive. I gotta be honest with everybody. We got a lot that we're gonna break down. We're not going to be in any rush tonight. We'll go as long as we need to go. Um, that did not go the way I thought. And I know, obviously, right now, the Lakers, we all got to wait and see how Luka's feeling. Left the game in the second quarter with left leg soreness. So there's a lot that we're going to get into aside from just the game, the injury, trade deadline finally ends. Austin Reaves is back. There's a lot of layers to tonight's game against the Philadelphia 76ers, but a really impressive win, 119-115 for the Lakers. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. If you guys have never been a part of the channel, welcome. If you're always here, welcome back. Please subscribe to the channel. Would greatly appreciate that. Let's get the post-game show started. Okay, so they're kind of, I don't know. There's so many different things, and I'm trying to think here where I want to start. Let me just do this because I typically do this. Let me just kind of talk about getting the W, and then we'll get into the details of how the Lakers got the win. This was not, in my opinion, a regular game for the Los Angeles Lakers, partially because it felt like for the first maybe 2.5 quarters that they kind of had no business of being in this game. And every time I'd hear Stu Lance sit back and say, yeah, I don't know how they're just down 8, or I don't know how this is just a 6-point game, or I don't know how the Lakers, even at this time, right, whatever stage of the game, I don't know how they're really in this game. And I think if you're a fan and you're watching this game, you kind of feel the same way. There were plenty points in this game where I'm like, I think Lakers are about to get blown out. I think they're going to go down by 10, by 12, by 16. This thing might get ugly, might go down to 18, and we'll see what happens from there. And then all of a sudden, you just have this stretch in that third quarter, midway through the third quarter. And yes, I know we got to talk about Austin Reaves, and we will. But there's a stretch of just these random players that were put in the game together that I thought started changing the tide of the game. Don't get me wrong. Austin Reaves was hitting some incredible shots. Obviously, what he was able to do offensively for the Lakers. But Jared Vanderbilt, phenomenal minutes for the Lakers. Marcus Smart, when Vando and Marcus Smart are in together, I mean, for the love of God, they were putting Vando on Joel Embiid. And I think Embiid only had maybe 5 points in the fourth quarter. Could have even been less than that. But I know there was a point where he was just absolutely balling and there was nothing they could do. They had Marcus Smart in there. They had Vando in there. Rui had some opportunities as well. Phenomenal from the Lakers bench. I think 60-plus points. Of course, a lot of that's coming from Austin Reaves. And then Maxi Kleber, who's only in this game tonight primarily because Jackson Hayes, which I already got into it this morning, so I don't need to get into it again. Jackson Hayes obviously suspended for a game because I don't know if Jackson Hayes knew that you can't check a mascot when he's running with the flag and just kind of doing his job. You're not allowed to do that. I don't know if Jackson Hayes knew that. So just in case if Jackson Hayes didn't know that, he now knows that you can't take out one of the mascots as basically the free safety in a game. You can't do that. That's why Jackson Hayes isn't in the game. Maxi Kleber comes in, and Maxi Kleber doing all these small things, tipping the ball on loose balls, keeping possessions alive, offensive rebounds, that last pass, which I got to be honest with you, the Philadelphia 76ers, very talented team. I don't think the highest IQ team out there. There are a lot of possessions where you're just like, what are they doing? Anyways, obviously that is an advantage to the Lakers. Maxi Kleber making that final pass. Who did he throw to? Maybe was it to Rui or to Jake LaRay? I can't remember off the top of my head, for the Lakers to go up 4, and then that's basically the game there. But Maxi Kleber, Vando, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia had some moments. All these other guys. That to me is the thing that stood out the most in this game tonight. Is it wasn't just your typical players. Somebody's saying here that it was Rui. It wasn't just your typical players. It was some of these role players. And yes, you still need a lot of these other players to step up. You need your best players to step up. You need all of that, of course. But the Lakers were able to do this where they didn't have, how many minutes did Luka end up playing? So Luka goes down, I think it was in the second quarter. Yep, 3:49, about 3:45 left to go in that first half where Luka goes down. So Luka goes down. You're down 10, 12, 14 points most of the game. You play the entire second half without Luka Doncic. You're playing a decent Philadelphia 76ers team. I mean, they're walking into this game. They're 8 games over 500. They've won 5 games in a row. They're playing some pretty good basketball, and they're up double digits for, between 6 and 10 for a good stretch of the game. And then the Lakers obviously go on their run. So we'll get into some of the individual players, but that was a solid team win under random circumstances without Luka Doncic in the second half. Austin Reaves, his only second game back. And what can you really be asking from Austin Reaves this early on? I don't think LeBron played well in a game where LeBron struggled, had a ton of turnovers. Listen, LeBron's going to fill up the stat line, but I definitely don't think LeBron was at his best. And with all of that, Lakers beat the Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid and with Tyrese Maxey and with some of these other talented players that the Philadelphia 76ers have. This game, to me, kind of stands out a little bit more from some of these other regular season wins. I'm not saying it's the best win of the season. I'm not saying, watch out for the Lakers now. They're going to run through the West. But what I'm telling you, on a random night on February 5th, on a Thursday, this was a good win for the Lakers. It would have been a good win if Luka was fresh and it was healthy and it was good to go. It's an even more impressive win for the mere fact that Luka was not here, and then you had all these other players step up. So really nice night for the Lakers tonight. It really was. I don't really have anything. I don't have much negative to say in regards to how the Lakers play. And I know that typically happens. You win a game and nobody has anything negative to say, but it was starting to churn into one of those games where it's like, here we go again. Hey, they play a decent team with a couple decent players. They're going to take an L. And Philly kind of came out, set the tone, set the energy. Lakers had to play from behind. And then, like I said, they reached a stretch there where they started getting some stops. The Philadelphia 76ers became very predictable. I thought Vando switching and Lakers kind of doing a little bit of zone, and then they're switching and they're putting Vando on Joel Embiid. You're not going to stop Joel Embiid, but can put a guy on that could at least hold his ground a little bit, keep him 15 feet away from the basket and take your chances from there. Both teams couldn't hit a three if their life depended on it. Lakers had 22 turnovers. So, like I said, there's a lot of areas in this game that caught me a little bit off surprise. Okay, now let's talk a little Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves. Very easy to forget about Austin Reaves. We'll get to some of the individual players. I know there's a lot of people there that are commenting, so I'll be happy to look at all the comments here. But let me get through some of the individual players. It's very easy to forget how good Austin Reaves was for the Lakers early in the season. Guys, the guy was about to be an all-star. Austin Reaves was about to be an all-star this year. Now, it's kind of a little funky, and don't get me wrong here. And those that are going to make the argument, yeah, Al, it's not that he's not talented, but how would him and Luka are going to work together? It's almost like there are times where these players work better when they're not playing together because there only is one basketball. And Austin Reaves is probably going to be the most authentic version of himself if Luka's not on the floor with him. But they are going to be on the floor together. And if the Lakers are going to make any type of run, they got to figure out how to be the best versions of themselves playing together. And I still think that's being worked out. I mean, last game against Brooklyn, that was the 9th game that all three of these players have played together this season, LeBron, Luka, and AR. So there's no chemistry between these three guys so far this season because they just haven't played enough together this year. We can forget how impressive Austin Reaves was earlier in the season. I hope tonight reminded a lot of people Austin Reaves is a damn good player in this league. And the question is just going to be how good can the pieces fit? Tonight, Austin Reaves was phenomenal. I think the game probably churned when Maxi Kleber decided, let me swing the ball to Austin Reaves with about half a second left on the shot clock. And then Austin Reaves, obviously a very high IQ player, just fires the ball from 20, 27, 28 feet, however far he was from the three-point line. And then that kind of got the run going for the Lakers. I think Reaves hit another three right after that. Lakers started getting some defensive stops. Marcus Smart hit 2 threes in a row. All of a sudden, it just started to become Rui hit some tough shots and some tough jumpers. So Reaves' stats tonight, just to show you how efficient he was, 12 of 17 from the field, 5 of 8 from the three-point line, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, a couple assists, and a lot of turnovers, like everybody else. LeBron had 8 turnovers. LeBron was two turnovers away from a triple-double. I mean, if you want to get it in a more creative way, LeBron was 2 turnovers away. Lakers were awful with the ball, but I thought better in the second half. I thought most of those turnovers were in the first half. Maybe there was still a lot in the second half, but I felt like those turnovers were louder in the first half. But Austin Reaves ends up with 35 points. You know how many minutes Austin Reaves played? You know, this dude's still on a minutes restriction, and in 25 minutes had 35 points. That is as good as you can possibly be in a 25-minute stretch in the NBA. 35 points off 17 shots, 12 of 17 from the field. Just a incredibly almost shot 70% of the field. Hit the 5 threes, like I mentioned, and 6 of 7 from the free throw line. So really great to not just see Austin Reaves back, but see Austin Reaves just thrive tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, let me get into some of the other players. I think there's a couple other players that I want to talk about here, and I'll kind of jump around here. We'll hit on a few different guys. I thought Rui was productive again tonight as well. 14 points for him, 7 rebounds for Rui Hachimura. That guy hits some tough shots. There are shots that he takes, maybe shot clock running down, and he's got no choice. He's like, all right, well, I can't pass it anywhere, or I'm the best option with the shot clock running out. And he doesn't have the speed to kind of get past the guy, but just kind of gets to his spot and puts up a tough 17, 18 footer. Somebody right in his face, rises above him and nylon. So Rui impressive with his stats, with his 14 points, his 7 rebounds, a plus 16 in the plus minus. I'll get to Maxey. Don't worry. I know a lot of people want me to hit on Maxey, and I will. I want to give this guy his due credit, and I'll give it to him. So let me get through some of the other players. I thought Vando, like I mentioned, was really impressive. Plus 16 for Vando off the bench. 6 points. Don't pay attention to his stat line, but 6 points, 6 rebounds for him, couple of steals. And like I said, basically, I thought him and Marcus Smart plus Maxi Kleber kind of changed the tone for the Lakers, not because of what they were doing offensively, but with what those 3 guys were doing on the defensive side of the floor. All right, couple other players that I mentioned here, and then I'm going to get into to Maxi. Marcus Smart, 7 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Kind of a nice, well-balanced game for him. I know he's not exactly killing it right now on the offensive end, but he did hit 2 threes in a row that were big. And then Jake LaRavia, kind of quietly, 14 points and 3 steals for him. A nice night for Jake LaRavia as well. Okay, let's do Maxey here, and then I'll start looking at some of the comments. Highest plus minus in the game tonight. Plus 23 for Maxi Kleber. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals for Maxi Kleber, who, again, probably only got the PT, only got time tonight because Jackson Hayes was unaware that you can't take out a mascot in the pregame. Is that a real story? Is that a real video? I watched that 39 times this morning. I'm like, this can't be real. There's somebody tell me this can't be real. All right, Maxi Kleber, really impressive. The thing I liked about Maxi, and listen, there are times I watch that guy play, and I'm like, get this guy off the floor immediately. But this is what I liked about him. I'm just going to come in here and play hard. This is what I liked about J.J. Redick tonight. I'm going to keep Maxi Kleber in the game. You know what I love about certain coaches, and this doesn't happen often in sports. A lot of these times are a lot of these coaches and a lot of the way games are played today, everything is just like it's a sheet that's written before the game. And it's like, all right, I got to take that guy out at the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. We're going to run this defense, and we're going to freaking run. We're going to take a timeout at this stage of the game. Does nobody have a feel for the game anymore? Everything is so analytical, and everything is already so predetermined. I guarantee you, J.J. Redick and his coaching staff, didn't have it in their game plan to play Maxi Kleber 26 minutes tonight, but he was playing well. So why not just keep him in the game? He's impacting the game. Don't pull him out. This happens all the time. It's like a dude hits 2 threes in a row and they're like, well, we reached the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. We got to pull him out. No, you don't have to pull him out. He just hit 2 threes for you. I like that JJ Redick kept Maxi Kleber in the game. And listen, Kleber might not have another game like this the rest of the season. So you don't know how often you're going to get these. Capitalize on them when you can. This man had the highest plus minus for the Lakers in the entire game or on the entire team with a plus 23, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Maxi Kleber. Yeah, that we may not have too many post-game shows where we'll be highlighting him like this, but kind of a cool moment for him. And the most important thing is it came in a win. It came in a game where they needed Kleber, just like they needed Vando, just like they needed Laravia, just like they needed all these different players. And like I said, this is just a very nice team win for the Lakers. Of all the wins that the Lakers have had this season, this is a game where I'm going to be like, remember that game against Philly? I thought that was a good win for the Lakers. So solid performance by the Lake Show tonight, and a number of different players that we mentioned. Bron, 17 points. I really mentioned Bron too much. Kind of got going late. You know, it's kind of weird with Bron tonight. He ended up taking 17 shots, but I thought Bron went through a stretch where he wasn't looking for his shot at all. And maybe Bron was just like, I don't have it tonight. My legs aren't there. And he did it. It's not like LeBron was playing like LeBron had been playing. Now, he still found a way to get 10 dimes for the team, still got 17 points, but it was inefficient. It took him 17 field goal attempts to get there. But overall, just a really, really impressive win for the Lakers. Okay. Got to talk Luka, and obviously got to find out more. He's got an MRI coming tomorrow. And I'll share my screen on that because I know it's on ESPN, so we'll do that in just a second. But let me get some of these comments. I know there's a lot of people that want to give their opinion here, so let me get to these. Shout out. We got a lot of different members that are chiming in, and then we got a new member right here in Mr. Tony. I appreciate you being a member, brother. Thank you very much for doing that. You're on your desktop or you're on your phone watching the show live, or maybe you're watching a little bit later. Hit that join button. $3 a month if you'd like to support the channel. Don't feel obligated to do so. We got probably between 175 and 200 members, somewhere around there. I'm going to do a show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for members. So if you want to become a member, Tony, thank you very much for being a member. Let's read a few of these here. Almost 1 year. Yes. One down for me. Okay, these are people talking about how long they've been members. Shout out to you guys. Okay, we got somebody that actually has been here for 1 year. Shout out to all the members. Thank you very much for being a member. Let me get to some of these. Slee, Maxi gave us the motor 8 and lax. Out rebounded the Sixers 48-24. Bench him each time. Bron starting to look his age a bit. AR, let's go. Let me take each one of these, and I appreciate you throwing in that super. Let me do the first one about Ayton lacks a motor. That's Ayton. So let me just say this on DeAndre Ayton. When he's got it going and he's got one of those games where you're like, hey, this is going to be a good night for Ayton, squeeze as much juice as you can possibly get out of him for that night because you don't know when you're going to get it again. The Bron starting to look his age, well, because he's 41. He should look his age. Bron should have looked his age 4 years ago. Bron's got moments, right? There's times where he's running up and down the floor and he's got this impressive dunk. I mean, he had a backdoor lob from Marcus Smart, a very big possession. I think the deficit was all the way down to maybe it was 2. Bron gets that lob from Marcus Smart and he dunks it. There was a possession either before or after that. Maxi Kleber kind of shields off Joel Embiid and he gets a really impressive dunk. And it's like, this guy ain't 41. And then there's other times where you're like, yeah, he's 100% 41 years old. So it kind of comes and goes. The last part about AR, let's go. Yeah, listen, I just hope there's a lot of Laker fans that are giving. I hope there's a lot of Laker fans that give Austin Reaves a little bit more credit. My vibe on AR, at least in Laker fans that I interact with, they just can't enjoy the moment of Austin Reaves. They're thinking about, oh, well, he's going to screw up in the playoffs, or yeah, that's next year he's going to cost too much. And then how are you going to go for a championship and compete? Like I feel like there's a vibe around Austin Reaves that things that he cannot control. He's a baller. He's a really good basketball player. And he's going to be on the Lakers, at least for the remainder of this year. We'll see what happens in the offseason. And there's no need to complain about Austin Reaves in the playoffs until you're actually in the playoffs and he has something to complain about. I know you want to kind of latch on to, well, but this is what happened against Minnesota, all that stuff. Let's kind of let things play out. They need Austin Reaves, period. He's a really good player. So tonight was a little bit different because we got so used to watching Luca's the guy. And then, of course, they finally get Austin Reaves back, and then Luka's out. Now Austin Reaves has got to be the guy that carries the Lakers. All right, let's get a couple more in these here. LeBron is the 90s Toyota that's starting to break. I don't know about that. I don't think that's a good comp at all. I don't think that's a good comp at all. He's like a geez, I don't even know if I have a good comp on this. LeBron's like a nice high-end Lexus. But you've had it for a long time. But when you get into that Lexus, you're like, damn, this thing it's not just vintage, but I'll drive it right now and enjoy the ride that I go on. Like a 90s Toyota. What are we talking about here? The guy is 41 still making it happen. Slee, so true what you said about Ayton with listen, I have no idea what Ayton's going to give every single night. If there's a night that you have this vibe like, oh my God, Ayton's balling out, freaking keep him in for 30 minutes for that night because you know that you might not get that night again for another couple of games. The one thing I will say that has not happened with Ayton so far this season is where he has this just great stretch of games. Well, maybe early in the season he had a little bit of it, but I think at this case, or I think at this kind of juncture of the season, there are not a lot of Laker fans that are feeling a certain way about consistency from that perspective. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let me kind of get a couple more comments in here. All right, here's what Reddick went on to note that it's still too early to tell if Doncic suffered an injury or if he's simply dealing with sore hamstring. God help us. Yeah. All right. Let me do this here real quick. Let's do this here real quick. Let me see if I could find what McMenamin put out there. By the way, I don't even know if did they put something or was it just a tweet? Let me just see here. No, we got something here. I'll read this with you guys. We can look at this together. And ESPN put this up so we can just kind of take a quick peek at it. Yeah, that's just like just a major bummer. It's like every time the Lakers take a step forward, they got to take two steps back. Luka Doncic exits early, MRI set on hamstring, sources say. So Luka limped off the court. Sixers, Doncic will undergo an MRI on his left hamstring on Friday, a source familiar with Doncic's evaluation plan told ESPN. All right, he did not merge for the second half. Thursday was just the 10th game this season that Luka, LeBron, and Austin played together. So Reaves just comes back from the calf strain, and now you got Luka. So no other details there. I did listen when JJ was talking about it, and nothing really came out where it was like, oh my gosh, this happened, that happened. They'll get an MRI tomorrow. Hopefully it's absolutely nothing, but I mean, if he's not coming back in the second half of a game, I got to think, it's got to be a little bit of something, but obviously, hopefully nothing major, and hopefully it's not something that holds him out for any extended period of time. Next game for the Lakers, by the way, they got a game coming up. It's on Saturday against the Golden State Warriors. I will say this, if they don't feel great about it, now you start kind of asking the question, all right, are they just going to use this time and maybe the All-Star break to get Luca right? Obviously, it's much more important to get Luca healthy than anything else. Um, all right, let's do a couple things here. A few things I want to do here, and I think this will keep the conversation on the Lakers win. I want to hit on, I want to mention something about the Philadelphia 76ers. I want to look ahead and see the next game that the Lakers have. And the NBA was busy today. And to be honest with you, for the most part, I thought a lot of things went the Lakers' way. Before I do so, let's give a quick shout out to one of our partners, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. They are injury attorneys that are located in Encino, California, but they can represent anybody in the state of California. I hope nobody ever needs an injury attorney. I hope there isn't yourself, a family member, or friend that's involved in a serious injury or a wrongful death case, but things do happen in life. Um, my pitch when I talk about Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm is not for somebody to go on the website right now, or not for somebody to go pick up the phone and call them or text them or any of that stuff. If you or a family member is involved in something, you're not really sure what to do, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Just know that you have, through our partnership here, one of the best in the industry that can help. So that website, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, if you go to that website, he will definitely be able to assist and at least start the process and point you in the right direction. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, and thank you for supporting our partners. Okay, let's go back here. One quick thing on the Sixers. I didn't spend too much time on the Sixers, but you only play them a couple times a year. So I'm almost curious. Some of these teams in the Eastern Conference, it's like, all right, what do they look like and everything else? Embiid stud, 35, 7, and 7, 15, 13 of 19 from the field. Here's the only thing that I will say about Philly. Is it just me, or do I notice like Tyrese Maxey had 26, Embiid had 35? I don't watch Sixers every night, so this is just my assumption over the last couple of days. Is there a little like, this is my team, this is your team? Is there a little bit of that? Is there a little bit of sometimes Maxey's like, hey, let me bring the ball up the floor, and Embiid's like, no, I'll just take it? Anybody else notice that, or is that just me? I notice a little bit of that vibe between those two players. Now they're both studs. Tyrese Maxey, a complete stud. Joel Embiid's been a stud for years in the NBA. He just hasn't been completely healthy. But watching Philly tonight compared to watching the Knicks when the Lakers played the Knicks, what was that, last Sunday? Philly ain't competing with the Knicks in a 7-game set. I don't think they're competing with the Cavs in a 7-game set. I guess the point that I'm trying to make here on Philly, of the teams that you would really take serious in the Eastern Conference, I don't think Philly is one of those squads. I don't know what it is. Something feels like there's like maybe from a role perspective, something missing. Now they struggled from the three, couldn't hit a shot, looked impressive in the first half. And then in the second half, that really wasn't all there. And frankly, I'll give the Lakers a lot of credit because I do think they deserve that credit for how the Lakers played tonight. But again, when I watch the Lakers against the Detroit Pistons or against the Cavs or against the Knicks or against the Celtics, there's certain teams in the East where I'm like, yeah, they're probably going to be there when the dust settles. I don't get that vibe with Philly. And the difficult thing is I should get that vibe from the Philadelphia 76ers. They got studs. Tyrese Maxey is one of the best young players in the NBA with one of the more promising futures. Joel Embiid has been a stud for a number of years. I feel like they should be better than they actually are. But again, I'll say it, I don't watch the Sixers every night. So, and I know Paul George is out right now. I know obviously his suspension, I think Billy Mack was saying he'll come back with about 25 games left to go, or I'm sorry, he'll come back with about 10 games left to go, and he's out for 25 games. So we'll see what happens here. Sixers have a bigger choker than James Harden, Pandemic P, and Embiid. Here's the difference, what I tell you. What I would tell you is the biggest difference is they're not going to depend on Paul George. That team's going to be ran by, of course, Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Embiid like AD, great if available. He was available tonight, looked pretty damn good. I wonder who's a bigger flopper, Embiid or Braun. Embiid throws his body around like I've never seen it. 300 plus pounds, and he just lobs his body around like I've never seen it. All right, let me get a couple supers in here. We'll keep going. Any chance Luke Kennard cracks the starting lineup? Okay, let's talk a little Luke Kennard here. So JJ Redick mentioned it post game. He complimented Gabe Vincent. I had a quick second there where I felt to myself, I kind of was like a little guilty of myself. I kind of felt a little bad. I'll tell you what I felt bad about. I'm getting ready to do the show this morning, and I'll tie this into the Luke Kennard, Gabe Vincent conversation. I'm getting ready to do the show this morning, and we got probably 10 minutes before the show starts, and then the trade goes at maybe 15 minutes before the show starts, and the trade goes down. I'm like, all right, so let me change everything. I start changing everything. Let me get some stats from Gabe Vincent, some stats for Luke Kennard, and everything else. And it dawned on me while I was doing the show. I'm like, Gabe Vincent's finally gone. And I go on a rant about how Gabe Vincent has done nothing. Listen, I know Gabe's been injured. I know he's had his fair share, a little bit of bad luck, but I was hyped for Gabe Vincent when the Lakers got him a couple of years ago. And when I say he's done nothing for the Lakers, I'm kind of just being honest. And I've seen articles being written, and I heard JJ Redick talking about how professional he is. And by the way, I don't question any of this because that dude, any interactions that I've had with Gabe Vincent or just being around him, if I'm at a game or anything like that, the dude's solid. Like, just feels like probably a great team guy, great locker room guy, all that stuff. I don't take any of that stuff away. And I think there's value to players like that. The problem is on the basketball floor, Gabe didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. So I felt bad when I was all said and done today. I'm like, did I just demolish Gabe Vincent? But I was being honest. The guy genuinely, I was throwing some examples here that he was just skipping and whistling to the bank every 2 weeks, cashing that check. They didn't get anything out of him. So I was excited to see Gabe Vincent go. Listen, I hope he's got a great career the rest of the way, and he kills it in Atlanta. But the truth is the truth. Luke Kennard coming back. So maybe he goes against the Golden State Warriors on Saturday. I'd imagine he'd be ready to go. And JJ was talking about how arguably the best shooter in the NBA, one of the best shooters. Obviously, nobody's better than Steph Curry, but one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he's really, really, really going to do everything he can to try to make sure Luke Kennard is firing away. No, I don't think he starts, nor do I think there's a reason for him to start. What's happening right now with the Lakers, which I think is a little bit interesting, Rui's coming off the bench, Austin Reaves is coming off the bench, Vando's coming off the bench, and now Luke Kennard. And listen, eventually Austin Reaves is going to get back in the starting lineup, but the point that I'm trying to make is Lakers are starting to finally have a little bit of depth, which is nice to see. Get another super in here. When he's kicking it out to Vando, LeBron's confidence in his three is gone. Yeah, I think anybody kicking it out to Vando, I don't think Vando's confident in taking a three. So certain players, obviously, when the Lakers get Luke Kennard, now Luke Kennard's not going to be able to do anything that Vando does on the defensive side. Vando's bodying up Joel Embiid. I'm not telling you he's stopping him. I'm telling you that he's battling with him. Well, that's not Luke Kennard's job. Luke Kennard's, I'm a sniper. I'm a laser. So completely different players, but it adds some depth to the Lakers. So that portion I'm excited about. Thank you for the supers, guys. I appreciate all the supers you guys are throwing in here. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of people are starting to talk a little bit about who the Lakers could potentially get in the buyout market. Probably going to save some of that tomorrow. We'll start kind of getting into some of that stuff. We'll see who's available. Some of the different people that that we end up getting or some of the players that become available, and then we can kind of start seeing. I'll kind of continue to say this: they need a wing. They need a wing defender, a 3-and-D type of player, somebody that can be a little bit of a threat on offense and then also a threat on defense. And I don't know if that player is going to be available for the Lakers. So we'll see what happens in regards to that. And I will definitely we'll start hitting on that stuff as we get a little bit closer to that, or once we start seeing some of these names come up. All right, let's get a couple other things going here. I got to highlight who the Lakers got next. So something to keep in mind as far as some of the different scores around the NBA. Now I'm point out the standings here. Scores around the NBA, it was kind of a good night for the Lakers. Let's put it that way. They handle business and they get the win. And then around them, the Houston Rockets lost, and then the Suns lost as well. So two teams that are kind of hanging around the Lakers end up losing. So the Lakers now, I'm going to share this with you guys as well, just kind of taking a look at the standings here for a quick second. Lakers are right in the thick of this thing. And I know there's times, and trust me, I know it comes up a lot, and we talk about the kind of the frustrations of what team's going to show up on a night in, night out basis. But you're looking at the Lakers here. They're in the number 5 spot. Look how far away they are from the number 3 spot. I know they were in that number 3 spot. Don't look at San Antonio. They're kind of starting to separate themselves from the rest of the pack here. The Denver Nuggets have lost 3 in a row. Houston's lost 2 in a row. Lakers have won 2, and they've won 7 of their last 10. Minnesota's 5-5 in their last 10, and Phoenix lost tonight against the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers kind of solidly sitting in the number 5 spot. Now, I know everybody's separated here between a game and 2 games. Lakers have 19 losses. Phoenix has 21. Minnesota's 20. But I'm not hating on that. I think the Lakers have put themselves in a decent position. The Golden State Warriors, Warriors erased 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter to beat the Suns. So Lakers got the Warriors coming up. That is on Saturday. That's an ABC game at 5:30. I just want to see here with all their trades and everything they did. And they're doing all that without Steph Curry either. Let's take a look here at some of the injuries here. Steph has been ruled out for Thursday's game against the Suns. They beat the Suns without Steph Curry. So that's the next game that the Lakers have. They got the Golden State Warriors coming. But like I said, again, nothing to really overreact about, but kind of right in the thick of it here in the Western Conference. 5th place, nice win tonight. They get Austin Reaves back. Now they got to figure out when Luka's going to come back and how long Luka's going to be out for. That's obviously the only thing that really matters moving forward now with the Lakers is Luka healthy? Is he good to go? And is he going to miss any time? Other than that, there's really nothing else to talk about in regards to not that much to complain about after tonight's game. Shout out to Harris Resort SoCal. They are about 1 to 2 hours away from wherever you are in Southern California. If you're looking for, hey, I want a staycation, I want to take the family somewhere, but I also want to be smart about it. I would suggest that you look to book a stay over at Harris Resort. They got over 1,000 luxurious rooms, beautiful rooms. A lot of these rooms got these just great views of the Palomar Mountains, which is north of San Diego. It's funny, every time I go there, and I was just there, you guys know I was there about a week ago. Every time I go there, they got this awesome, like just straight up a trail that goes along the casino and then goes into Rincon is the Indian tribe there. And anyway, it's a beautiful piece of land, but it kind of gives you a chance. Even though you're at a casino in your resort, you're kind of getting some fresh air in the process. They got the lazy river. They got the swim up bar. You can do a little bit of everything while you're out there. But if you're looking for a staycation, harrissocal.com is where you can book your next stay, and at least if you're looking to kind of get away for a couple of days, go to the website, take a look for yourself. They're obviously a partner here of the channel and the show, so would love to support our partners in the process. But it is a phenomenal resort, and I really think you'll enjoy your stay if you do book a stay there. Okay, we'll read a couple more comments here, and then we're going to call it a night. It's Brooklyn. No one can try management. Okay, I don't know where we're going with that. I have no idea. I jumped into something that I wasn't aware of. If the Spurs upgrade their small forward spot, they're going to be unstoppable. Spurs are nice, very very nice. Spurs are, and they're way ahead of schedule. You don't get draft picks in fifth place, and you don't win championships either. You're not wrong about that. Definitely not wrong about that. That's right. Booker's been out, so Booker's still out as well. Good heads up on that one. Um, you're not wrong on that. You can't win a championship. You don't get draft picks in fifth place. I thought what the Lakers did at the trade deadline, which was now 10 hours ago, to me, it showed a little bit of responsibility, patience. Let's get those picks, figure it out in the summer. They obviously know they're not going to be a favorite to come out of the Western Conference. I thought they kind of showed a little bit of like, let's pump the brakes here for a second. And that doesn't typically go with Lakers basketball. So I'm going to give them some credit from that perspective. All right, my people. I think that's what we got for today. That is what we got for today. I appreciate you guys. Coming on the show, hanging out. Busy day today because of the trade deadline, the show this morning, and everything else, but really fun. I mean, to be honest with you, these are the kind of days that you look forward to. So I can sit here and come on and talk Lakers basketball and NBA basketball, and hopefully new people come on the channel as well, and they get a little bit of a chance to see what we do on a day-to-day basis. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Lakers over the Sixers, 119-115. I guess tomorrow we're just going to have to wait on this MRI on Luka, and hopefully, obviously it's nothing serious, and the Lakers can keep kind of trying to move forward here before we get to the All-Star break. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for your support of the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Obviously, I'm doing the show tomorrow at 8 a.m. Looking forward to seeing you then. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you in the morning.